Hello and welcome. My name is Daniela Schwartzman. I'm the Strategic Partnerships Manager here at BayWa RE, and I am very delighted to bring you another webinar with us today. And we have a special guest. We have Mike DiRico here. He is National Sales Director, Installers at SPAN, and he is going to talk about how to simplify whole home backup with the SPAN Panel MLO 24. So I'm really happy to have you here, Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Daniela, and thank you very much. And thanks everyone for taking a little bit of time out of your day today to join us here on this webinar. And thank you very much to BayWa for inviting SPAN on to talk about our products.
Thank you. Really, right back at you. We are really happy to have you. While everyone is joining us, let's go over some housekeeping. So make yourself familiar with our platform, our webinar here. The most important button for you is the Q&A button. So I will monitor that the entire time. So any questions you may have or comments, please share, and we will discuss that live here at the webinar. We don't monitor the chat. You'll find a couple of links in there for you to take away, but please use the Q&A for communicating and asking your questions. All right, without further ado, let me tell you a little bit about BayWa. Welcome to BayWa if you have not worked with us yet, and also welcome if you are. BayWa, at BayWa here, your success is really our priority, and that shows in a couple of different ways. So forecasting, more important than ever, is one of the unique things that you can plan actively with us for accurate forecasting. So this way, you ensure that you can service your homeowner efficiently and also having the products that you need when you need them. So your account manager is always available for you for any type of guidance and counseling. The web store. We have a web store that's super easy to use. It does simplify the purchasing process with an access to up-to-date pricing, immediate ordering, but you also have your invoicing there, previous orders. So it's much more than a shopping cart. It's available for you 24/7, makes it super easy to purchase. Commercial services. You can benefit from expert planning and precise product inventory forecasting when you reach out to our commercial service desk. So any commercial project you have, we're happy to assist you with commercial designs and planning and more. Consistent pricing. So you can enjoy consistent pricing across all strategically located U.S. warehouses, eliminating any unexpected fees. You can also easily access the products you need wherever you are in the country, thanks to our strategically located warehouses. 13 right now, with a new location just opened in Charlotte, North Carolina, and a new location coming very soon. So stay tuned and check out your local warehouse and your local representative. And job site delivery. You can receive your products directly at your job or construction site with the convenient direct job site delivery, bypassing any need for a middle warehouse. So without any more delays, if you are US-based solar installer not working with us, please come, reach out. There's a chat, a link where you can get in touch with us. We are looking forward to speaking to you. All right, let's hear from Mike. Thank you. Mike, take it away.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Daniela. All right, we're going to get my screen going here. And we'll have this screen up here for a minute just as I introduce myself here. If you're able to, and you have not done it previously, you can scan one of the two QR codes that I have up here, which will take you to the App Store on your phone and allow you to download the SPAN Home app. One of the great things about SPAN is that we have our home app, which is where users experience the SPAN panel, of course, homeowners. But what we have are simulated homes on our app, and we're going to use those a little bit later on in the presentation. So if everybody wants to go ahead and do that now, you can go ahead and download the one for your either Apple phone or out of the Google Play Store and get yourself ready to go for later. I cannot emphasize enough how much of a great sales tool this is. Again, we'll talk a little bit about this later, but I witnessed it actually firsthand experience myself. I was out in the field doing a sales call along with one of our partners last week. And we were talking to a homeowner, and you could see they were starting to get it, but weren't really getting it. And then I took out my phone and opened up the simulated app, and we made a sale. So I guess if that's, if that one example can be used over and over again, then there's, maybe enough of a reason to go ahead and download that. So I mentioned, or Daniela mentioned, Mike DeRico with SPAN. I'm our national sales director for our installers. So I oversee relationships with installers all across the US. We have a whole team of folks. We'll talk about that later. And we're really excited for everybody to be here today to learn a little bit more about SPAN. So what we're going to do today, our agenda here will be to do an intro about SPAN panels, just to make sure that we're all level set on what we're talking about. Some of you might be new, and we're going to find out a little bit more about that in a minute. Then we'll talk a little bit about our expanded product family, which we're really excited about. Over the course of this year, we have gone from offering one panel product to now 5 panel products. So we're really more right-sized and right-modeled for the home now than ever before. We'll talk a little bit about where we see the opportunity for you all. And we'd love to hear from you a little bit as we go through that about where you see the opportunity. And then specifically, we wanted to dive in today on the SPAN MLO 24. It's one of our newest panels, and we see there being a really good opportunity for that one out in the market. I mentioned we'll talk about how to educate your homeowners on SPAN, and then we'll leave you making sure that you know where to get all the tools and support, because I think that everybody will leave here saying, we're going to incorporate more SPAN into our business now that we know about all this. This is great. So we have our first poll question here that we wanted to put up. So the question is just, we want to get to know you a little bit better. You all took some time out of your day here, so we're curious. How many of you are either new to SPAN, or maybe some of you have installed SPAN products before? So where does everybody fall on that in the newness or not of SPAN?
Yes, let's do it. So how many SPAN panels have you installed? You have the choice. I'm new to SPAN. I have installed 1 to 2 units, 3 to 5, or more than 6. We could start the poll and see how the answers come in. That would be great. I can't see how the results come in right now, but if
I can see them over here. It looks
you
pretty
can,
good. Yeah.
yes,
So we've got the majority of folks, 67% of you all are new to SPAN. So welcome. And thanks for sure for joining in a little bit and learning a little bit more about it. With the second biggest group being those that have installed just 1 or 2 panels before in the past. So maybe you're coming to us where it would have been the older panels and or the original panel, and now we have new models for you, which is great. And then finally, there's a subset of you all that have done 6 or more. So we've kind of got both ends covered here, where it's either a few or a lot. So really appreciate that, everybody jumping in on that poll.
that's amazing. And it shows you're in the right place, any one of you, but especially if you're new to SPAN, you can see how that simplifies the whole home backup significantly. So excited for you all.
Awesome. So great. So let's get into it then. So given that there's a lot of you are new to SPAN, let's do a little bit of an intro then about what our product is and what we offer here at SPAN. So with SPAN, our solution, what we come to the market, I've mentioned a few times the SPAN panel. SPAN panel is a smart one-to-one replacement for your electrical circuit breaker panel. It can either be a full replacement of your main panel, or it can be used as a sub panel and be combined with the panel that already exists. And you can use SPAN now as a sub panel. That is somewhat of a newer feature with some of our new panels. So we're really excited that now we offer both. And so, the panel exists. It's a one-to-one replacement, installs just like a regular electric panel, but it's got energy management incorporated into it. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. That's what differentiates SPAN from a regular old gray box. The regular old gray box just sort of does what it does. A circuit breaker trips if you have too much power running through that line. And with SPAN, we add on things like energy management system. We add on at every circuit breaker, there is a relay behind the circuit breaker, which allows us to remotely turn on and off those breakers. And then what we also do is behind each circuit, where there is a revenue grade meter. at each one. So this isn't, a algorithmic thing. It's a revenue grade meter at every circuit breaker. So that's really important when you think about SPAN and maybe some other products that might be out there that you might be thinking about. So our panel is obviously the flagship. We'll talk about how there's multiple offerings in there. In addition to that, we should mention that we have our SPAN. I should mention that we have our SPAN Drive, which is our dynamic level 2 EV charger. When we talk about dynamic, what we mean is that our EV charger can automatically, through our energy management system, control itself, and it'll give you full 48 amps. But if maybe you don't have that available at the house right now, we can reduce that by 1 amp increments all the way down to 6. So it's really kind of a unique feature set that we have in our EV charger. And the homeowner experience is all this through their SPAN Home app. So the SPAN Home app allows them to control, get visibility, monitor, turn circuits on and off, allows them to see what's going on behind the scenes like they never have before on their entire house. So it all sort of comes together for the homeowner in that app that I talked about. We'll show you guys a little bit more about that later. And I've mentioned that we now have a SPAN panel for every home. We've offered the SPAN panel main 32 now for years. We're installed in all 50 states. It's a very popular product, and people have really enjoyed, homeowners have really enjoyed having it. We get lots of great feedback there, and installers have enjoyed installing it. But installers, you all, or maybe in the future, you all, our partners give us a lot of feedback, and we really appreciate the feedback they give us. And we took that over the course of a few years, and we said, okay, well, the market has asked, and we're going to deliver. And what the market asked for was panels that were maybe more right-sized for different applications. So we now have, I'll go across here, we now have our main 40. SPAN panel main 40. Main means it has a main circuit breaker there. So it's a 200 amp main breaker integral into the panel. And then 40 branch breaker circuits. Our MLO 48 is a main lug option. So a larger panel without a main breaker has 48 branch breaker circuits. Our MLO 24 is again a main lug panel, and that one has 24 branch breaker circuits. Maybe your smaller homes, maybe a sub panel, and we'll get into that. And then our main 16 is again for maybe a smaller home, an ADU, multi-family homes where you do need that main breaker inside of the unit, but you just don't have that many. You don't have a need for that many circuit breaker spaces. So we have 16 circuit breaker spaces in that panel. Regardless, though, you're going to, with this optionality, you're always going to get energy management, and SPAN being the only one that is UL 916 and 3141. UL listed for both of those as an energy management system and a power control system. That's that monitoring and that revenue grade that I talked about earlier. So industry leading there, that's any one of these panels. And then any and every one of these panels is also solar storage, EV ready. So all of the things that you talk about from day to day, we're ready for all of that and purpose built for all of those.
That sounds wonderful. If I can jump in here, I do have a question. You talk about the certifications and how they are all having the same kind of benefits. Now, when I look at those 5 products here, one stands out to me because of the price, right? So could you elaborate a little bit more to the differences? Like, how should installers think about that? What kind of use case? When to use which product for what situation?
For sure, that's a great question. A little later when we go through tools, we actually have a panel picker tool that can help take everybody through this. But for right now, I think the way to think about this, Daniela, is first and foremost, am I in a situation where I'm replacing a whole panel, or am I in a situation where I'm replacing, or maybe adding a sub panel? That's certainly the first thing that I would think about. So the second thing I might think about is, am I in a market where it's either currently in place or required that when we do electrical work, what we're hearing more and more across the US is when electrical work is done in a home, like you're there and you're doing a panel swap because you're adding solar and storage or an EV charger, that the AHJs are requiring an external means of disconnect. So we have that meter outside, and now you have to have the main disconnect be located outside as well. That's where our MLO panels really come to shine. As they add more breaker spaces, either 48 or 24, and by having the main means of disconnect outside, you can use a main lug panel inside the home, or next to that main disconnect outside, depending on where you are, and you don't have to. You can have even more breaker space, and you don't need that main breaker in there. So go ahead and get that MLO panel. Specifically, you asked about our MLO 24 though, and that one we're really excited about because as you pointed out, that MSRP at 2550 is our lowest MSRP we've ever had on a panel. It's the most, price affordable or price approachable for folks. You think about adding that into a project, it's a really sort of fairly low barrier to entry for most folks. And we think that we're giving everybody a nice price sensitive option out there. And as everybody knows, we do have some tax credits that are expiring at the end of the year. They are still available though for the next 6 weeks or so. And with the panel, there's a $600 tax credit. So now you're looking at that MSRP being under $2,000. That is, like, from a SPAN perspective, pretty unprecedented. So I think it's about picking the right panel for your project, but it's also about maybe having some optionality and being able to say to someone, well, we could give you sort of the full thing in maybe a 40 or a 48, or we've got these smaller panels that would be a great sub panel option for you. Your current panel is in pretty good condition. Let's get your house smart though, and add a SPAN as a sub panel, which is something we haven't been able to really emphasize doing before.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. And as you mentioned, there are programs in different states that support this that are not connected to any kind of tax incentive that's going to expire. So these programs continue to exist.
For sure. Yeah. They're going to keep, there are going to continue to be incentives for all of this because it's important. These are important things for us to have for energy management, right? The utilities want SPAN panels in homes. It's good for everybody because it allows everybody to manage their energy better. I'll mention, we could talk about the specifications on the MLO 24. They're available on our tech portal. Later on in the presentation, I'm going to take everybody through how to go and find these. You'll be able to find this sheet right here. So if this is a panel that you're getting excited about and you're thinking, well, this is where I'll want to, well, this is the one I want to start adding into my business, or maybe I'll start with this. I'll show you how to go and get information on those panels. I'm not going to sit here and bore everybody with a bunch of specs today. Let's talk about some use cases and real good stuff instead of me reading off of a specification sheet.
Mike, there's a question before we jump to the next poll.
Sure.
Is there a place for us to find which states have rebates, incentives specific to SPAN?
I love that somebody asked that question. Thank you very much. So we do have a place for that. On our SPAN website, you can go and we have a rebate and incentive calculator. And so if you go to the SPAN website, I'm going to show everybody where to find that. You know what? I'm going to show everybody where to find that right now instead of putting it off until later. Let's go and do that right now. Just get everybody out of the way here. Get my toolbar out of the way. So this is our SPAN website here. And if you go under Why SPAN here at the top, so you kind of hover over and go to this red one at the end here, this electrification savings calculator. This is right where you can find out all of the incentives that are available in your area, either through local utilities, through the state, through the county, at the federal level, whatever they might be. There's a few simple questions to answer here about the household or the home and the people that are living there that you just answer a few simple questions, hit calculate down here, and it's going to give you a whole host of information. So you can just go to the SPAN website and find that for yourselves and be able to find all the incentives that are available for everybody in your area.
I love that. Thank you for providing that service.
For sure. And we'll make sure that the website gets located in the chat there. We're going to show you that a little bit later. Okay. How about that next poll?
Let's do it. Oh yeah, I can see it. Let's do it. So everyone, please let us know which SPAN panel models are you most likely to use in your business. So either you've done it in the past or what you just heard, what Mike was speaking about. The SPAN panel main 32, SPAN panel main 16, SPAN panel main 40, SPAN panel main 24, SPAN panel main 48. Oh, there's a mistake. Actually, the last two options should be SPAN panel MLO 24 and the last option is SPAN Panel MLO 48. I don't know whether this was now too confusing. So just know the last two options are MLO products.
It looks like we've got some answers that are picking those anyway, so we're
Okay.
there. And yeah, it looks like everybody, I think we're starting to get there.
Yeah, pretty even here between the 32 and the 40. Is that surprising to you?
You know, it's not. So I think this is where we talked about where I talked about a little bit that that might tell me that you know, folks that are out there are seeing the value of a full main panel swap. And that happens in a lot of markets where you're still running into older panels, Fed Pacific, Zinsco, and the panel, and maybe those folks know, you know what, I'm going to need a new panel with a new main breaker, and there's options for me there. And maybe in that same market, some homes are newer, and getting into something where it's like a SPAN main 24 is another option that they'd want to have in their business, where that's an affordable option. So it's sort of a maybe good, better, best almost type of approach to it, which I think is great. And I love that folks are still saying, hey, a main 32, you know, is, you know, it's the tried and true. It's what we've had for a long time, is still a great option there as well. You know, and it's sort of that just right size. It's just enough circuits. It's got that main breaker. And we'll talk a little bit later too about some of the things that SPAN main 32 can do, that maybe some of the new panels are going to be doing soon. So cool.
Yeah, and maybe a little call to our attendees. Feel free to share why you're using each of those products. So it would be great to know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear a little bit more about that. And I would venture to say that that regardless, you're going to be able to get any one of these panels at BayWa. So not to worry, regardless of what you answered, there is stock available for you. So talking a little bit just about what the overall opportunity is. You know, sort of why smart panel, right? Why, you know, why think about a smart panel? One of the major features of every SPAN panel is our embedded software firmware called PowerUp. So SPAN PowerUp, what that, you know, overarching, you know, system does is that is our energy management system. That's where we get these UL certifications to be an energy management system and a power control system. And what does that mean in, you know, in sort of real life terms? What that means is SPAN expands the available amount of devices, electrical current devices that you can, in appliances that you can put in a home. So, you know, I think you all probably know this out there, but a typical home in the US has, you know, a wire coming in off the street from the utility, and that wire is going to be capable of delivering anywhere from 100 to 200 amps. In most average homes, it's going to fall somewhere between 100 and 200 amps. For those homes, there's like 50 million plus of these in the US that fall in the lower range of that 150 amps or less. Oftentimes, that poses a challenge. It's a challenge to get all the devices that you want. And so what SPAN PowerUp does, as you can see here, is it's a smart energy management system, just like it says. So as a typical day goes by, and a household is using all of their appliances, they get home from the end of the day, they plug their EV in, and then they turn the oven on because they're starting to make dinner. They might be pushing up against the total available electrical current that's available in their home. So what SPAN will do is just smartly say, well, why don't we just peel a little bit off from that SPAN drive EV charger? We'll take it from 48 amps down to 40, and we'll get us back in a safe zone. Homeowner doesn't even notice a difference. Their car is still charging, albeit maybe slightly less fast than before, but it's still charging. And there's no interruption to their lifestyle. Their oven's still on, the hot water heater's still working, the HVAC is still running, everybody's happy. And we see this over and over again in the US that a house can run on 100, 150, 200 amps and be fully electrified. They can have electric appliances. They could have an EV or two, electric HVAC, all of these things. And they don't have to be constrained by that service. And in particular, they don't have to be constrained by that service if they have SPAN with power up embedded. So ultimately, what we see over and over again is that, homeowners are ready. They want the heat pump, EV charging, which I'm sure a bunch of you can relate to out there, electric appliances like dryers and ovens that run on electricity. And most importantly, I think probably for this group, solar and storage. And unfortunately, these things over on the right probably ring true for you all out there that, you get to that house and that utility service is unfortunately insufficient to handle the size of the system that they want. Or maybe, like I mentioned, the panel's out of date. It's an old Fed Pacific Zinsco panel, and you've got to do a panel upgrade. Or maybe it's just an out of space thing. It's a not too old home, but they kind of right-sized the panel for the house when they built it. And you need to put a couple of dual pole breakers on that panel in order to put your energy management system or your energy storage system or your solar to land those in the panel. And there's just no room. And so what do we do there? There's an added sub panel option. So these are all options, but they're all sort of obstacles that SPAN's going to help you overcome. Now I'm going to jump into this SPAN Panel MLO 24 specifically and talk a little bit about the applications where this panel in particular is going to do all those things that I just mentioned in a way that's, again, affordable for the homeowner and an affordable add-on for your projects, but also give you a lot of the same benefits that maybe replacing an entire panel would do. So here you are. You're out adding solar and storage. For you, thinking about a SPAN MLO 24, first things first, I'm going to come right out the gate with, you can oversize your solar production. Our bus bar is rated to 225 amps. So, when you're working with your 120% rule, you're going to be allowed, the maximum size of solar array available. So that's going to be great for you. In addition to that, with our power up software, in addition to being able to manage circuits on grid, we also allow a management of them off grid, meaning we have protection to not overload a battery. And what that means for you is that you're going to get less truck rolls. SPAN is going to prevent brownout and blackouts of your battery systems. So some people might say, well, the battery systems now are coming out and they have some of that involved too. Fantastic. Isn't it great to have redundance in all of these things to ensure that you're not going to be, particularly in sort of a storm-ridden area where the batteries are running quite frequently, where you're just assured and you can sleep well at night knowing you're not going to have a lot of truck rolls to all these homeowners' homes. For your homeowners, you're selling them on the idea, again, you can maximize the solar production without really a lot of project delays, because the SPAN Panel 24, MLO 24, again, is a sub panel. So the addition of a sub panel into a job is pretty low barrier to entry. It's fairly fast to do. It can be done in just a few hours by an installer, maybe even faster than that. We have an installer internally who did it in 30 minutes. I'm just saying. That was probably the fastest I've ever seen. But you can do all these things pretty quickly. You can eliminate the need for that whole main panel upgrade. Just add a sub. It's cost effective and it's fast. They're going to get 40% longer battery life by adding SPAN to their project with, say, a Tesla or a Franklin battery system. We do that through our software. What we do is we give homeowners the ability to choose which circuits are going to be on or off during an outage. And we have, with Tesla and Franklin, a category called nice to have circuits. Those are going to stay on until the battery is at 50% capacity, and then those are also going to shut off. By those shutting off, that extends the life of that battery in an outage by 40%. You're almost getting a battery and a half for the price of one. It really is a value add here for all of you that are doing storage. You're going to be able to monitor and control your circuits, backup priorities. You're going to get energy savings insights. You're going to know circuit by circuit in your house. When you get that electric bill at the end of the month and it says, well, it's $250 or $150 or, God forbid, $450. It's always a pretty big bill, but you don't know what led to it. You just know this is what the utility company says you owe them. with SPAN, circuit by circuit, we're going to tell you where what used energy and how much, and you can start to monitor things like, is that consistent or is it variable? And maybe that's an appliance I should have someone come out and take a look at because it's not operating efficiently. Um, or wow, maybe it really is time to upgrade that HVAC system. I didn't realize how much of an energy burden that was on my home. Maybe it's time to go out and do those things. So really, it's a great system for all of these things.
That's such a great point you're making, like that control piece, yes, energy management and that smart management using energy where it's needed is one part, but being able to see some hidden energy sources is pretty great. I have a question here, and I'm going to add another one to that. So the question here is, does SPAN integrate with the new Enphase 10C battery and combiner 6? And then more generally, you particularly point to Tesla and Franklin. There are other brands that are popular as well, like just to name some of them, like Enphase or Solar Edge or other partners. How does SPAN integrate with other brands?
Sure. I'm going to answer that in kind of some pieces. So uh, the first thing I will say is all of the newer panels, so anything but the SPAN panel main 32, is equipped today to do its job with Tesla and Franklin. They're integrated with Tesla and Franklin. So if you have a main 16, an MLO 24, a main 40, or an MLO 48, those are great and awesome options for you if you are an installer of Tesla or Franklin batteries. If you're also installing Enphase or Solar Edge, the SPAN panel main 32, in addition to Tesla and Franklin, also integrates with Solar Edge and Enphase today. So if your project is coming up soon and you're going to use an Enphase or a Solar Edge battery, my suggestion would be to incorporate and utilize the SPAN 32 as the SPAN panel of choice for that project. And I mentioned we've got that panel picker tool. I'll show you that, and that'll help you with that. If you walk out of here and it's 2 weeks from now and you remember there's something there, you can go through and use our tool to remind you of which thing was which. So we have options for Enphase and Solar Edge. It's utilizing that SPAN 32. And then as far as the newer Enphase batteries, the 10C, or maybe other batteries from other manufacturers, what I would tell everybody is stay tuned because SPAN, as I mentioned, is more and more and more popular. And so our company is working with other manufacturers of other batteries to be integrated with even more in the future. So for today, we're a great option for you again for any Tesla and Franklin project. And if 32 works for you, you can add in Enphase and Solar Edge as options. And I would say keep checking back with us, or get yourself on our mailing list for our newsletter, which we'll show you how to do. And you'll get the latest and greatest as soon as we're integrated with the next one and the next one and the next one. You'll be the first to know, and you can start offering that for those projects as well.
Yeah, and you can also reach out to your account manager. So we do have all of the products available and can help you with that kind of decision making as well and get you in touch with your local SPAN rep as well.
Awesome. Good questions. Keep them coming in. So just to recap then, with SPAN, we have Power Up integrated into every single panel. This is not an addition. This is not you pay more money. This is what the prices that we showed you there as MSRP. When you buy a SPAN panel, it is equipped. Every one of them is equipped out the gate with Power Up. Power Up helps you unlock more projects because we've got our firm service rating, which was the first thing I showed everybody, which is make sure that the energy use doesn't exceed the capacity coming into the home from the utility. And then in addition to that, that same software allows for backup overload protection. If you're in a backup situation, we're also not going to overload the capacity of your energy storage system, your Franklin or Tesla battery. We're going to make sure that you all don't have unnecessary truck rolls and unhappy customers who are maybe trying to turn too many appliances on at once on that battery and causing the battery to shut down unnecessarily. So we're doing both of those things with one amazing piece of technology incorporated into every single SPAN panel at no cost to all of y'all or the homeowners.
Mike, before we move on and go a little bit deeper in the presentation, there is another integration question which might be related to service, but maybe you can help out here. The
Sure.
question is there someone that can help with Tesla and SPAN integration, specifically for the gateway for the PowerShare vehicle to home? We're having a hard time getting the two communicate properly. What would you recommend this installer?
Yep. So I would recommend visiting, and maybe you could help me out putting this in the chat for everyone. Support.span.io is our support page. And support would be willing and able and happy to help you all out with that and get you the right answers that you're looking for to help with that. I would, there's also a self-service, and we'll kind of go through that a little bit. But I think in your case, I'd love to get you over and talking with my coworkers in our support team. They're fabulous, and they're going to love getting that question and being able to help you find a solution for it. They really live for that. So I'm excited for you to get the answer you're looking for.
That's great. That was support.span.io. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat. There's another question on interconnect. When is microgrid interconnect device, MID, when is that feature enabled?
Someone's reading ahead. So we have announced that our SPAN panels, our main 16 and our main 40, do have an integrated MID that is currently not enabled, but it's there for future state. I don't have a specific answer that I can give you right now on when we're going to have integrations that utilize our MID. But I would tell you, that's another stay tuned. And without saying too much, I would say, stay tuned and keep your eyes peeled for some announcements there. In the grand scheme of things, these are things that come along very quickly and can be added in and over the course of time. And, when I say relatively speaking, we expect a panel to be in someone's house for the same period of time, a SPAN panel to be in someone's house for the same period of time they would have expected a gray box panel to be in their house. So we're talking, in the realm of 20 to 30 years, right? These are a long-term device, a product. And so, if it's a few months or 6 months or a year before a new integration or another added feature comes along, in the grand scheme of how long you've owned that device, it won't really be all that long, I don't think anyway. And that gives also SPAN a long time for us to continually improve our product with free over-the-air upgrades for life for everybody that puts a SPAN panel in. So we're excited about it. I wish I could tell you a firm date right now, but coming soon. So with that, we'll keep going. Good with questions? So I mentioned the backup overload protection. So you think about your restricted loads, your air conditioners, those kinds of things on a single battery. I think you all know, you've probably been through this before. Where a battery, maybe was not appropriately connected by some other installer, by the way, not you. Somebody else did it incorrectly, and you ended up having, maybe a brownout or a blackout on that battery, and you had to do a truck roll. So this is what we talk about. Your homeowners, the screen you're seeing flash here is what they're going to see, and it's going to give them a warning that you don't want to add these devices into your battery priority because it's going to potentially overload that battery. So just be aware of that. So we talked a little bit about SPAN 24 and using it as a sub panel. One really important feature or accessory that you want to make sure you add when you're adding SPAN 24 as a sub panel is our current transformers. What our current transformers allow us to do is it allows all of that power up software I talked about to run. Meaning, the way that power up works is particularly on grid, you're going to want to know how much total draw you're using. So if SPAN you can imagine if SPAN is a sub panel, we don't know the draw unless we have CTs. We wouldn't know how much power is being utilized by the main panel. So what the CTs allow us to do is to monitor the entire home usage as well as understand what the SPAN panel is using and potentially maybe do some adjustments there. Like I mentioned, maybe ramping down the EV charger a little bit to be able to ensure that we keep you in that safe zone for the available capacity of your home. The same way, when you're in a backup situation, CTs are going to ensure that we have that whole home monitoring of how much energy is being utilized or being produced and given via that battery. So CTs are an accessory. When you do SPAN as a sub panel, you want to make sure that you tell your BayWa representative that you need those CTs for that project, or they'll probably remind you because they're product experts just as much as everybody at SPAN. So one way or the other, you want to make sure you get those. It's a very easy device to add. You just plug it in. We give you plenty of cable, and then it's just 2 alligator clips that clip over the main service feeders at the entrance point into the main panel, and you're done. When you're commissioning the panel, you'll tell us that those exist and that they're in there, and you're off to the races. It's not a very complicated thing to do, but it is super important, of course, because we do need to have both of those pieces of data to run properly. So I just wanted to make sure I sort of noted that as we were going through. They're also a fairly inexpensive device too.
There's a question on bidirectional charging. Is this a good time to talk about that one, or should we hold it off until a little bit later?
Let's pause that one until we get a little bit later, if that's okay.
Okay.
Great. So I mentioned a little bit, you can sort of think of this as kind of a good, better, best situation. So with SPAN now, you have multiple options. So for those of you who answered in the beginning that you've done, 1 to 6 or more SPAN panels in the past, this is probably a little bit of a change in approach that you have with SPAN from before. Because now you have multiple options. It's not just sort of that one SPAN panel. This is the one they have. You're going to maybe think about this in a little bit of a different way. So again, there's always that option. Instead of a sub panel, instead of a SPAN smart sub panel, you've still got that basic backup loads panel that we've always had. But as you can see, it doesn't really do much for you. You don't get longer backup, no visibility and control in your circuits. You can't charge with solar. It's not going to get any better in the future. It's just the box. Now with SPAN, there are multiple options. You've got a good option, which is SPAN as a sub panel. Maybe a budget conscious homeowner would want a SPAN 24. A better potentially might be a SPAN 32. That's more of a main panel edition, and maybe it's for most of your circuits. If you've got a larger home, maybe 32 allows you to land most of your circuits in there. Or in particular for those homeowners, as we mentioned, that have Enphase or Solar Edge. If you're installing those, this is your panel. And then the best, sort of whole home, those homeowners who, I'll call it kind of nerd out on all this stuff, and want to see all their circuits and, be able to control everything. And they don't want just a subset of them. They want the whole house. Great. We've got an option for you too. We've got our 40 or 48, our larger panels, where, 40 or 48 circuits is plenty to do most homes. And so, ultimately, as you're thinking about incorporating SPAN into your business or the multiple panels into your business, I'd sort of recommend, and we're going to share this information with you, thinking about setting up your system for your sales folks, something like this. And as you're educating homeowners, one way or the other, we think a smart panel is a good idea for you because it gives you all these things that a regular old panel doesn't. But we've got some options for you now. We can get you, we have a sort of a more price conscious or budget conscious option for you if that's what you're looking for. Or we've got the, SPAN everything option where you can get your whole home visibility and control. And they're at different price points, and it really is up to you, homeowner, what's most important for you. Optionality. Homeowners love options. Gives them choice, right? So I wanted to go through here a little bit and just I'll go quickly through these, but for those of you who are more on the install side of things or project management side of things, who like to visualize. I know there's a lot of you out there. Some of you may be on the call today. We wanted to just show a few quick SLDs just to give you a sense of sort of how all this would go together. So, imagine you're in a market that's a meter main market. You've got your backup switch, Tesla backup switch here in your meter main, and you're going to have some non-controlled loads that stay in your meter main. You're going to add those SPAN CTs shown here in yellow, and you're going to add that SPAN MLO 24 as your sub panel. By doing that, all of those loads in the SPAN 24, up to 24 loads, can now be controlled. You'll get visibility into all of those. And that is where you're going to land your solar inverter, your battery, your solar, all of those breakers. You're going to land right in SPAN. And it's going to give you the most access and control, again, on the solar side of things. That allows you to oversize your solar system with that 225 amp bus bar, or maximize the size of your system. And then it's going to give you visibility and control into all those loads that do land in the SPAN panel. And then, just as a friendly reminder, the non-controlled loads, so the loads that stay in that meter main or that, that other main panel, you won't be able to control those, because certainly, there won't be that relay behind them, and you won't get individual visibility. But we will be able to tell you, because of the CTs, the overall electrical usage of the home. So you're still getting data, but it's more of an aggregated data from this from the main panel that you're getting. We should have done a poll on this one, I feel like, now that I'm thinking about it. But I will say, I'll just very quickly say that we have heard quite a bit out there in the market that more and more companies are becoming multi-trade, that solar and storage companies are choosing to bring in or partner with HVAC companies that are doing mini splits and things like that. It's to sort of give everyone a kind of whole home holistic service. They're either adding that internally or they're partnering with a local company. The things kind of go hand in hand: EV charging, solar and storage, electrifying their heat, to getting up, whether that's heating or hot water. All these things, sort of the same homeowner typically wants to do all of those, or more and more they want to do all of those. So if that's something that you're thinking of in your business, I just want to mention BayWa and SPAN are here to help you with that as well. So either whether you're partnering locally and you're looking to trying to do that, or you're looking to add this into your own business, this is really, again, where SPAN shines. If you're not looking to do this with your own business, what I will tell you is, again, all those homeowners, there's a big overlap of people that are doing solar and storage, and then all of these other electrification projects. We'll go through the steps of selling SPAN, but I can't emphasize enough, ask your homeowners about this. Because if they're thinking about doing all these things, not only is SPAN a value for them today, but it's going to be a value when they call out that HVAC contractor to come in and change out their heating system. If you don't put in a SPAN today, they might be looking at extra work down the road, versus if you did put in a SPAN today, you're setting them up for the future. And that homeowner is going to be ecstatic when they go to change all the other appliances in their house and electrify. And it's simple and easy for them. And there you go. Now, now they're ready for all these things, and you're the hero. And that's probably going to lead to more referrals for you and more happy customers. So,
And more future business as well, right?
Yep,
So
let's keep them
the
coming in.
SPAN conversation can come in different ways. You already have solar and you want to add something else and realize you can't do it unless you do an electrical upgrade, or somebody is coming to you and wants to have a solar installation, and you actively ask the question, tell me more about your project and where you want to be in 5 years down the line. This is great. Is this a good time to bring back the question about SPAN's bidirectional charging?
I think it is, yeah. So let's make sure we get that one answered.
Yeah.
So I think the question might be SPAN drive EV charger and bidirectionality. Today, SPAN does not offer a bidirectional charging piece of charging equipment. Our SPAN drive is charging only. We don't offer vehicle to home or vehicle to grid through our SPAN drive. There are other vehicle to home, vehicle to grid chargers that are starting to become available. We are keeping up with that market. We intend on, being a part of that market when it gets a little bit more solidified on what the rules are around it and what the codes are around it and things like that. We're following very closely, which is why today we don't offer it. If there is a bi-directional charger that that the homeowner would like to use, and your question is, can they have that charger in their home and have a SPAN panel? When we get into the tech portal, I'll show you. There's a there in our systems, our support systems is what I'm trying to say. We'll be able to help answer that question for you. So I can't give you a blanket answer, but what I can give you is a resource that you could go and check each time that comes up, if that comes up, and you could go and check that out. And then again, we're very well aware that bidirectional charging is something that people are clamoring for, and keep an eye on us for where we go with those capabilities. Again, maybe in the near future, we'll see. But I appreciate you bringing it up because it gives us, an idea of kind of where to go. Again, for those who kind of like to geek out over this stuff, if you've got a large load, same idea. Add SPAN as a sub panel, so you're replacing an HVAC system or something like that, and maybe setting them up for solar in the future. Get them a SPAN panel now. Add those large loads to the SPAN panel. We're going to help ensure that they can stay on the service they're on today and be ready for the future. We don't want to skip over this, but I will do this one quickly because I want to make sure we get to some other slides where we have time. But if you're out there, we don't know what everybody's business is here, but if you're a builder or an electrical contractor that works on either multifamily or maybe really light commercial, like think about your local donut shop or hair salon or something like that. And, you could see some things pictured here. Again, this is another application that we're seeing become more and more popular with our SPAN 24 sub panel. With 24 circuit spaces and ensuring that you're not going to go over on your utility service. There's a great opportunity here when you're in multifamily situations. The one that we see the most is, maybe a 3 or 4-plex unit, and one person wants to do some upgrades, an EV or some kind of other upgrade, and the rest of the homeowners don't want to do it. And if the first homeowner was to do it, it means they're going to need to do a utility service upgrade, and they have to bear the burden of that cost. If you use SPAN, that homeowner doesn't have to pay to upgrade the utility service to that building all out of their own pocket, and the burden doesn't fall entirely on them. So I'm just going to throw it out there. If you've got questions about this, definitely reach out to your BayWa or SPAN rep and have some conversations about it, because it's a really good area of application that maybe you don't always think about. And again, this is that triple decker unit I talked about. So maybe just one of them has a SPAN, and that's okay. And that's going to keep them on their utility service and get them the maybe EV charger that they want. So very quickly, talking about educating homeowners on SPAN. We talk about just 4 things that we recommend you doing all the time. The first one we talked about just a minute ago: scope the need. Ask your homeowner about what other things they're planning on doing in the future. We'll go through the home app here in a minute, and utilize that as a sales tool. It really brings everything home for everybody. You really want to compare and contrast sort of the benefits of a smart panel versus a conventional panel. That's kind of your soft close. And then your final close is utilizing that rebate tool we talked about earlier that I showed everybody, and making sure that they take advantage of any and all incentives that are available in their area for both SPAN and any other projects you're doing on that house. So again, just to sort of dive into these a little bit, we have this sheet that's available for you if you'd like to use it. If you don't want to come up with your own and you don't do this today, start tomorrow for sure. Start asking them about what future projects they plan on doing, because typically they're starting with solar and storage, but they're thinking about these other things in the future. This is step 1, and then they're going to get that induction stove or that new heating system someday. And you're doing them a big service by offering them SPAN up front and showing them that this is the right thing to do today to set the foundation for all of that in the future. Utilizing that SPAN Home app. I've got the QR codes here again on the screen. What I'll tell you is it's intuitive. You're going to open up the SPAN Home app, and you're going to see Explore a Simulated Home right there on the front screen, and it's going to bring you into either a home that looks like this, which is our newer screen, or you can even look at the older version of our app as well. We've got both of them available on there. but you can go in and start to really understand and see, oh, wow, I can see where the energy is coming into my house and where, where I'm pulling from right now. I'm, a little bit from the grid and some from that great new solar array that just got put on my roof. This is awesome. And what's using energy and what's not, and those sorts of things. And you start to get over time information. Um, our SPAN simulated home app gives you all of that and allows you to really do all of that. And again, we don't take any information from you. So not only can you use it as your sales tool, but you can have your homeowners download it and then they can go and play with it. And that's when you have them do that, you nailed it, and you're getting a sale for sure. We have a resource available for you for comparing and contrasting what you get, why a smart panel. So we'll go through and where to find that. And then lastly, just close and make sure that you're, putting yourself in the best position financially to give them all the incentives that they qualify for in their area. I mentioned our app experience is changing a little bit. So on all the new panels, this is what it looks like. You may be, some of those who have done a lot of SPAN panels in the past may be familiar with a little bit of a different look. So just FYI, like everything out there that's smart, every once in a while we give ourselves a fresh new look. And this is our fresh new look. So all the same features and things that you love with the old app, just looks a little different for, to keep it new and fresh. All right, I promised we were going to go through really quickly a live demo. I'm watching the time and I know I've got enough time. So in the chat, you'll see a link to this website, techportal.span.io. If you're here, and those of you who are new, if you want to get in and become a SPAN authorized installer, you can come in here and take our training. It will look you'll go to the Tech Portal, you'll create an account, and this is what the page will look like for you. You'll sign an authorized installer agreement, and then you'll take your installer training. You'll just click this button here. It takes 30, maybe 45 minutes. It's all video. You can start and stop whenever you want. And 30 or 45 minutes later, you are authorized to be a SPAN installer. What that does is it allows you to download the app where you commission a SPAN panel. Without that, if you could probably wire a SPAN panel, but you wouldn't be able to commission it, which is the really important part. So make sure you do this before you do an install. Big emphasis there. This is also where we have all of our sales and marketing resources under this tab here. So I mentioned, go ahead and go in and take a look at this. All those sell sheets I talked about, the checklist, anything that you saw right there is all available there. I mentioned our specification sheets. Those are under technical documents. You've got your installer training. You've got a video library. We've got all these resources here for you. You've got a way to connect to SPAN support down here. Again, something we mentioned earlier. And the last feature I'll show you very quickly is this AI chat. And so let's look at, can SPAN be used with N-phase batteries? There we go. There's all your answer right there for you. So if any question you have, you can just go in, type your answer in, and we're going to give you information and guidance on how to get that done. So SPAN is compatible with N-phase batteries, but not the new 10Cs. So keep that in mind. It's available and compatible with the older style batteries, but not yet the new 10Cs. But keep that in mind, and let's keep your eyes open for that to be different in the future.
Yeah, when you showed this, a couple questions about the N-phase integration and articles that were mentioned. I hope that was answered. There's another question about a business. Can we track our installers as a business? Can we track our installers that do the training versus not?
Yes, you can. So the leaders in the business will be listed as an admin on their portal. That wasn't showing because I had a demo version up there, but you'll be listed as an admin, and as an admin, you also can invite new people from your business, and you could go in there and look at your contacts for your business and see who has or has not completed their training. Yep. Great questions. So I'll close with, we're here to help, right? It looks like we're right up against time here. So thank you everybody for coming out. Reminder that we're here to help. We've got our playbook, we've got our tech portal, that chat that I talked about. So we wanted to close with like one more quick poll if everybody, if some folks are still here. And just curious, out of everything that you've seen today, if we were to add some new features, which we're going to do, where do you think we should focus first?
That's a good one. So please, if you have the time, just to do this one poll, which potential future feature would be most important? A SPAN meter combo, compatible with any battery, generator integration, built-in MID integrations, vehicle to home backup, SPAN API, or other something else? Let's see.
And I'm going to ask if for anybody that answers other or something else, you're going to have information how to contact myself and Daniela and the BayWa team. Reach out after and let us know what that thing was so that we know, please.
Yeah. So vehicle to home backup, I mean, we have only a few answers. If you guys want to just share your input here, that would be great. But it's indicative, right? So vehicle to home seems to be like most relevant.
Yeah, I
I've
think
already,
vehicle to home, some meter combos is there. We see that quite a bit. So it
yep.
sounds like we've got some folks that are in those markets, compatible with any battery and generator. Those coming in kind of tied makes sense. So this is great. It's really very very helpful to us. We listened to the point where we made 4 new panels that have a lot of features that y'all asked for, and we're going to listen to this poll too, and make sure that we do the things, we tell our engineering team these are the things that the market wants.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This was great. I know it was a lot of information, and you'll all have access to the webinar recording afterwards. So you'll have all this valuable information. You know how to reach us and Mike. Mike, thank you so much. This was great, showing like not only how you expanded the products, but also particularly sharing how they all fit in different use cases and how there's a real solid path to superb whole home backup. So thank you so much for taking the time to walking us through. Thank you, dear attendees, for participating. We look forward to hearing from you and to working together. Thank you so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Bye, and thanks for taking the time today.
Bye-bye.